So I'm weighing up all my clay, half a pound, very old scales, and then just hand wedging each little ball and getting ready to throw. Okay, so I start off with my little pad of clay to stick my bat on the wheel. Doesn't have to be perfectly central. A little ball of clay and I'm off. You'd think that throwing a really small piece of clay is easier than throwing anything else, but it's actually a bit trickier. Okay, I'll just open that up. And it's really important to compress the inside base. So I'm just pushing my finger down and pressing down on the inside there to stop that cracking happening. Compress with a sponge and then I compress with my finger again. I'm just going to bring the form in because I want the top to be narrower than the bottom, and now I'll just bring that up. It's quite narrow. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to use my little sponge on a stick, which is a chopstick with an elastic band holding the sponge. And I'll use that as my extension of my hand to just make that form that I really like. I might come up again. I feel like it might need a bit more thinning out. So I'm pushing out now with that sponge. There we go. Okay, now I'll just absorb any extra water that I had in there. Finish up the top and make a little groove down the bottom here so that when I wire the piece off later I'll be able to get a good opening there. I use my little rib here, dip it in water. I'm just going to pull that up just to give me that form that I really like. I'll just get rid of that excess water on the bat and take that off, ready to dry. Here they are, just waiting to firm up. I won't wire these until tomorrow. So these little vases I made yesterday, and they are just not quite leather hard, still a little bit soft, and I only just wired them off this morning. So those little guys behind me, I won't touch them until tomorrow morning. And the reason I do that is that if I cut them off now, they may warp a little bit, so I like to firm up. So I'm going to show you how I finish these off without turning. The little stamps that I use, I have this little one here. It's made by the lovely Caroline at Firefly Giftware. If you Google that, you'll find a way to have these great stamps made. Mine has my name in a sweet little font. And then I have started this year, might be the first year, I'm doing little, I've made these little stamps that have, this one has 22, which is 2022. So I'll have that stamp next to it so that I can keep track of, you know, the work as it comes through. So I'm just going to use a little sponge and just going to gently wipe the outside rim. It's pretty soft still. It needs to be able to kind of finish this off like this. So see, I've just wiped the bottom there, and I'll just dip my thumb in some water, and all I'm going to do now is just run my thumb around the outside of that edge. A bit more water, I'll run that again. I'll do a little close-up in a second to show you. So what that does is it neatens up the bottom, but it creates this really sweet little ledge at the bottom of the pot. That's all I do, apart from using my little stamp. So I'll pop my name stamp on that, and I always do that in the, you know, in that little junction there where there's a bit more clay, so I'm not deforming it too much. And then my little year date stamp, and give it a little wee wiggle, and then there you go. That's it. And I'll leave these to firm up, and then I will start thinking about designs and how I'm going to paint these. I have lots of ideas, so stay tuned.